Cosplay is expensive. The fabric, the notions, the wigs, the makeup, the props, the conventions. It all adds up, and before you know it, you're broke as a joke. This is where budgeting comes in. It's an absolutely vital skill to have as a cosplayer, unless, you're totally rich and you can do whatever you want with your money. For the rest of us, here are some tips and tricks to use to manage your money as a cosplayer. Obviously, there are a lot of good financial practices to follow outside of this hobby as well, such as putting a portion of your paycheck directly into savings, starting a Roth IRA, and avoiding excessive debt. Seriously, credit cards may seem like a great thing and they can be used to build your credit score, but don't use them unnecessarily, otherwise you'll end up with tons and tons of credit card debt when you're at a young age, and you don't want that. But these tips are going to focus exclusively on what you can do as a cosplayer to manage your money, rather than, just a smart human being. And I'm going to preface this. If you are seriously struggling financially, like you can't pay rent or buy food, then buddy, you should hold off on cosplaying until you can afford basic needs. Believe it or not, cosplay is a hobby. It is not necessary for your survival. It should never, ever be your first priority when it comes to how you spend your money. Buying that wig can wait. Your heating bill? Probably not. Alright, now that we're on the same page, on to the basics of cosplay budgeting. If you are already pinching pennies, doing a Trinity Blood costume or full armor from Skyrim may be out of the question. Good rule of thumb, if it's extremely detailed, it's going to be extremely expensive. There are always exceptions, but generally, if the costume is large or has a lot of elements to it, it's going to cost a lot to recreate. Instead, consider doing something simpler. School uniforms are a great choice, or more basic outfits like those seen in Pokemon, Naruto, or, yes, even Homestuck. When you're deciding on a costume, consider factors like what materials you want to use and whether or not you'll need a wig. Those are the little factors that really start to add up. If you commission or purchase a costume, you're paying for more than just the costume. You're also paying labor costs. If you can't sew or style wigs or make props, then sometimes commissioning is necessary. But if you're able to make a costume yourself, it will generally be a lot cheaper than hiring someone to make it for you. Outline what you need for a costume, and for each item, estimate what you'll need to spend. For example, let's use Starfire from Teen Titans, since I'm planning to make that costume soon. I know right away that I'm going to need a wig since I don't have long, flowing burgundy hair. Going from past experiences, a wig like that will probably cost me around $50. Starfire has super bright green eyes, so I want to wear contacts for her. Those will likely cost around $25. She's also orange, like straight up orange. So I'm going to need a vibrant orange Jersey Shore tanner. I already have other makeup supplies, so in total the makeup should only cost me $20 at most. Look at that, we're already up to $95 and we haven't even gotten to the costume yet. Alright, materials. For all the silver pieces, I'll probably use craft foam covered with spandex. Alternatively, I could also use fleece instead of foam. Either way, that will be cheap, but the spandex, not so much. I'll need at least 2 yards of it, so that's $20 right there. As for purple spandex, I'll need about 2 yards, one for the boots and another for the outfit. I'll likely use spandex Milliskin, and that's $9 per yard, so $18. Let's not forget shipping for both orders of spandex, so another $10. Finally, Starfire has green gems, and I'll need to cast those from resin. I won't need much, but between the resin, epoxy, ink, and molds, that'll come to at least $25. Total, at least $168 for this costume. I'm going to set aside $200 just to be on the safe side. And you know what? That's really not that bad. It's within my spending budget, so I know I won't be straining myself financially in order to make it. I'm going to keep this list on hand when I start shopping for supplies. If things start snowballing and I find myself spending more than anticipated, like the wig costs more or I screw up on the costume and have to order extra fabric, I'll see if my budget will allow me to do so. Otherwise, I'll have to figure out a cheaper method. That's basic budgeting. Not so hard, right? And the rest of this is easy stuff. If you plan your costume ahead of time, you can spread all that spending out. That way, you don't have to drop $200 all at once. You could buy the wig first, then a few weeks later, buy the fabric, and so on. This puts a lot less strain on your wallet. Look in your kitchen, your basement, Your garage. Chances are there are a ton of materials you can snag for a costume. Cereal boxes can be used for cardboard. Old clothing you're planning to throw away can be used for fabric. Empty cans or tissue boxes can build a frame for your prop. Get creative and see how you can save yourself a buck or two by recycling. Scour magazines and newspapers for coupons. Fabric and hobby stores offer tons of savings and discounts, especially if you sign up for their mailing list. Also, if you have a smartphone, be sure to check out if your store has an app. A lot of times they'll offer coupons digitally. Pay attention to when there are sales, too. It can save you a lot of money to hold off on buying something until it goes on sale the following week. Save that half yard of fabric, that extra foot of elastic. Reuse patterns, steal old shoes that mom wants to throw away. You never know when something may come in handy down the road. And it will always help if you can use stuff you already have instead of having to buy something new. Take parts from costumes you've already made to use for new costumes. For example, if you already purchased a really expensive wig for one costume, see if there are any characters you'd like to cosplay that have a similar hairstyle. That way, you already have the wig, so it makes it worth your investment. You can do this with things like school uniform blouses, ties, petticoats. You get the picture. Hopefully these tips come in handy for you. Again, cosplay can get really expensive, but there are definitely ways to make it affordable to your budget, no matter what that budget is. And again, I just want to reiterate, good cosplay budgeting starts with good financial practices in your day-to-day life, not just for cosplay. There are a ton of books like this one that are available to you. Read them cover to cover, learn the basic financial practices, and do them. Learn how to avoid debt, learn how to pay off loans, learn how to not abuse credit. And please, 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 if you cannot feed yourself, if you cannot pay rent, if you cannot afford medical coverage or insurance or some sort of treatment that you need for your health, then do not cosplay. That sounds horrible, and it makes it sound like, oh, only the rich can cosplay. It's so not true. But you need to take care of your basic needs and your basic survival and your basic health and happiness before you get into a hobby. This goes for video games, clothing shopping, attending concerts, model train collecting. Your health and your survival are more important than dressing up as fictional characters. And sometimes it sucks having to hold off on doing something you really want to do, but if it's not financially feasible for you at this time, wait. Just wait. Because in the future you may have tons of money to spend on cosplay. So just sit tight until then and wait until you're financially stable before indulging in something that should be a really fun, stress-free hobby. At least stress-free in the way that you should still be able to feed yourself every day and still buy fabric and wigs. As always, if you have suggestions for a Cosplay 101 video, leave it in the comments below. I'll see you next time, and until then, happy cosplaying!